This dog is a real troublemaker. It takes over the only water source. Whenever another dog tries to get close, it viciously drives them away. None of the others dare to fight back. But the newcomer Buck is different. He walks onto a patch of ice nearby and smashes it with all his strength, creating a new water source. The other dogs gather around him. Buck does not chase them away. Instead, he generously shares the water. Spitz watches the whole thing and gets furious. To him, this is nothing less than a challenge to his authority. But Buck does not care. He used to be Judge Miller's beloved dog. Every day, all he did was cause trouble and tear up the house. He had so much energy that everyone in town called him a little demon. Today happens to be Judge Miller's birthday. The servants prepare a table full of food. No one is seated yet. Buck licks his lips and stares at the feast right in front of him. While Judge Miller and his family are taking photos, Buck quietly crouches beside him with a chicken leg in his mouth. The moment everyone notices the missing chicken leg, they know something is wrong. As expected, the carefully prepared birthday dinner ends up completely destroyed. Judge Miller looks utterly defeated. Luckily for him, Buck leaves behind one chicken leg. To punish the dog, Judge Miller refuses to let him inside that night. It is Buck's first night sleeping outdoors. But what Judge Miller does not know is that this goodbye will become permanent. Late that night, a dog thief approaches Buck. Using food as bait, he lures him into the vehicle. The innocent dog cannot resist. He is locked inside a cage. Buck desperately claws and slams against it, but no matter what he does, he cannot escape. Through the gaps in the cage, he realizes the gardener is the one who sold him to the dog trader. As the familiar estate fades into the distance, Buck is filled with regret. The cage is loaded onto a train. After being sold again and again, he finally arrives at the frozen world of the far north. He reaches Alaska. As a southern dog, Buck has never seen snow this deep. He immediately walks with the awkward excitement of someone seeing the world for the first time. Everything fascinates him. He jumps and runs around in excitement. But the joy does not last long. He goes from a pampered family dog to a lowly working animal. Buck lowers his head in disappointment. Because of his large size, he stands out among all the dogs. Peral notices him immediately. That is how Buck gets his second owner. They are a husband and wife team of mail carriers. At first, the wife is unhappy. For the same price, they could have bought at least 2 sled dogs. Besides, Buck has no experience at all. Little does she know that this dog she dislikes will save her life more than once. When Buck first joins the team, he strongly resists the harness. His first day of work is difficult. He stumbles awkwardly while running. After finally catching up with the team, he gets distracted by a rabbit on the roadside. One careless moment later, he veers off course and drags the entire team down a slope. The other dogs bare their teeth and complain. Perot walks over. Instead of scolding him, he patiently encourages him. Buck realizes his mistake. From then on, he improves little by little every day. As time passes, Buck becomes much steadier. Although the lead dog Spitz often bullies him, at least most of the mail still gets delivered. Until one day, Buck notices that Spitz constantly abuses his position. He steals food from the other dogs. No one dares to resist. They lower their heads in silence. Buck cannot stand it. He gives away his own food and walks away without looking back. That single act of kindness changes the way the others see him. Soon, Buck truly becomes a sled dog. Running gives him a kind of happiness he has never felt before. Little by little, he regains his confidence. In the past, he always obeyed human commands. Now, in this vast wilderness, he wants to live for himself. On one quiet night, something deep inside Buck begins to awaken. Then, after an accident, he completely replaces Spitz in his owner's heart. One day, they need to cross dangerous ice. The wife goes ahead to scout the route. Suddenly, the ice breaks beneath her. She falls in. Below is fast-moving water. She quickly loses strength and gets dragged away. Perot wants to save her, but has no way to reach her. Without hesitation, Buck dives into the freezing water. He pushes her upward with all his strength. Again and again, he slams his body against the ice, until he finally gets her back to the surface. But Buck is too exhausted to climb out. Before his owner can pull him up, the current sweeps him away. Perot stands on the ice in panic, calling Buck's name over and over. He rushes around searching for a way. He pulls out a knife and desperately strikes the ice. After only a few hits, the blade snaps. In despair, Perot pounds the ice with his bare hands. But when he turns around, the buck he is trying so hard to save is sitting beside him completely unharmed. Seeing this from a distance, Spitz is furious. Even the wife who once disliked Buck unexpectedly gives him a chicken leg and thanks him for saving her. After saying that, She turns and walks away. Spitz sees everything. He decides the time has finally come to settle things once and for all. That night, Buck and the team chase a wild rabbit. After finally catching it, Buck chooses to let it go. But before the rabbit can get far, Spitz rushes in and kills it. Then he walks straight toward Buck. There can only be one leader, and tonight they have to decide who it will be. Facing the aggressive Spitz, Buck shows hesitation. Spitz quickly launches a fierce attack. Although Buck is twice his size, he has no fighting experience. After only a few rounds, Buck falls behind. Spitz repeatedly bites at his neck. Within moments, Buck is knocked down and nearly loses consciousness. Spitz even mocks him after the fight. Then he turns to the other dogs, trying to re-establish his authority. But the others would rather walk away than return to his side. They keep barking at Buck, hoping he will stand again. And the next second, Buck actually gets back up. But now, there is a sharpness in his eyes that was never there before. His wild instincts awaken. Spitz suddenly finds himself with nowhere to retreat, so he charges again. Buck sidesteps beautifully, locks onto his neck in one clean move, and defeats the arrogant Spitz. As all the dogs watch, Spitz disappears into the snowstorm. The next morning, their owner calls for Spitz for a long time, but time is running short. They have to leave. Buck steps forward on his own. Perrault is not convinced. He thinks Buck is simply fast, while a lead dog needs experience. But Buck refuses to back down. He sits in place and does not move. Left with no choice, Perrault lets Buck lead. Buck finally takes the front position. The moment the command is given, he bursts forward. The team's speed is on an entirely different level. The owners are thrilled, but their laughter becomes too loud and unexpectedly triggers an avalanche. Perrault's face changes instantly. He urgently orders Buck to turn left, but something seems to be guiding Buck. He ignores the command and leads the entire team straight toward the avalanche. They charge directly through the mountain. Under Buck's leadership, they escape the disaster. By sunset, the sled team finally reaches its destination. The whole town has been waiting for them. Although their arrival is a little rough, that evening, Buck stands beside his owners watching people smile as they receive their letters. Perrault tells him, "This is the meaning of traveling such great distances." Buck seems to understand the responsibility of a sled dog. After enduring snow and hardship, he is no longer the spoiled pet he once was. He has become a true lead dog. After seeing such a vast world, he can never return to that warm southern estate again. Early the next morning, they load the mail and prepare to leave. Just then, the explorer Thornton rushes over, carrying a letter. Buck suddenly stops when he sees him. It turns out this letter is addressed to Thornton's son, whom he has not seen in years. Buck accepts the delivery. That is how the man and the dog become connected. From then on, Buck leads the sled team to fame. Every delivery arrives ahead of schedule. For a while, Buck enjoys endless glory, but good times do not last. As the world changes, telegraphs quickly replace sled mail. Headquarters orders Perrault to sell the sled dogs and return immediately. For a living, he has no choice. Even though they do not want to part, the mail carrier couple finally says goodbye to Buck and leaves in tears. Buck understands. Once again, he has to say goodbye to his owners. Not long after, Buck gets a new owner. His name is Hal, a gold prospector. Looking at the iron rod in his hand, Buck has a bad feeling. The freezing weather locks the sled to the ground. With a full load of luggage and days without food, the dogs cannot move it. But Hal does not care. He assumes they are being lazy. When he raises the rod to punish Buck, Thornton steps in. He cannot bear to see the dogs suffer. Using a wooden pole, he pries the frozen sled loose and kindly explains that the sled is stuck. The dogs simply cannot pull it. He tells them to wait until spring, but they only care about gold. They ignore him and leave with the team. As expected, the frozen trail soon stops them completely. Then they reach an uphill climb. The dogs use every ounce of strength. Before long, an old dog collapses and slides down the slope with the sled. Fortunately, Buck holds the line. Even then, Hal still believes the dogs are slacking. He lashes them with a whip. Watching the others suffer, Buck can only force himself to keep moving. Thornton watches the melting snow and cannot stop worrying. He immediately packs up and goes after them. Meanwhile, the sled team finally climbs the steep slope. Buck is completely exhausted. Seeing him as useless, Hal pulls out a gun and points it at him. At the last possible moment, Thornton arrives. Seeing the terrible condition of the dogs, he angrily shoves Hal aside. After being persuaded by his girlfriend, Hal reluctantly agrees to leave Buck behind. Then he takes the remaining dogs and leaves. The dogs look back at Buck unwillingly. They know this is probably their last time seeing him. In the end, Thornton takes Buck away. After several days of care, Buck finally wakes up. He understands that Thornton saved his life. But when he reaches the doorway, he sees that the river across from them has completely thawed. His companions have most likely died. Buck can only raise his head and howl, praying they somehow survived. Thornton goes to a bar and orders a bottle of whiskey. There, he runs into Hal. The moment Hal sees Thornton, anger appears on his face. After Thornton took Buck away, all the remaining dogs escaped. That delayed his search for gold. Hal blames Thornton for everything. He storms over in rage. Fortunately, Buck arrives just in time and saves Thornton. Back home, Thornton sits quietly by the fireplace, staring at a photo of his son and drinking in silence, one glass after another. Buck can't bear to watch anymore. He gets up, knocks over the glass, then steals the bottle while Thornton isn't looking. Buck digs a hole in the snow and buries the bottle. When Thornton finds it, Buck sits directly on top of it. No matter how hard Thornton pushes, Buck refuses to move. In the end, Thornton gives up helplessly. Buck walks over and sits beside him. Under a sky full of stars, the man and the dog lean against each other in silence. The next morning, after Buck wakes up, Thornton spreads a map in front of him. Marked on it is a towering mountain. His son's greatest dream was to become an explorer and go where no one had ever been. To his son, that was what real adventure meant. Now Thornton finally has a purpose again. He wants to fulfill his son's last wish, to cross the mountain at the edge of the world, to find the legendary River of Gold. So Thornton and Buck set off toward the end of the world. They travel along rivers filled with fish. During the day, flocks of birds guide them overhead. At night, fireflies light their path. After passing roaring waterfalls, they finally reach the other side of the world, a place untouched by human beings. Led by Buck, they discover an abandoned cabin. To escape the noise of civilization, Thornton decides to settle there. He fixes the cabin up a little, but the very next day, while washing in the river, he pulls out a huge piece of gold. The legend is real. The River of Gold truly exists. Buck also sticks his rear up and starts searching for gold. Although the chunks he finds are big, Thornton tells him only this color counts as gold. Even though dogs only see the world in black and white, Buck somehow pulls out a fist-sized nugget the next second. But when Thornton doesn't react, Buck assumes he found the wrong thing and tosses it away. Later, he finds another one about the same size and proudly drops it into Thornton's pan, waiting eagerly for praise. Suddenly, a white figure flashes in the distance. After getting Thornton's permission, Buck curiously chases after it, but once he catches up, he loses his courage. It is a wild wolf with snow-white fur. The wolf circles around him once, eyes wide as it carefully studies him. Buck becomes so nervous his whole body stiffens. He tries to greet it the way humans do. Instead, he startles the wolf. It turns and leaves. Their first encounter ends just like that. Buck lowers his head in disappointment. Then, unexpectedly, he notices something left behind. Looking at their matching footprints, he realizes they may be the same kind. Back home, Buck becomes distracted. His mind is full of the white wolf. For the first time in his life, he has no idea how love works. So Buck does what countless hopeless admirers do. He quietly stays close behind her. But the white wolf pays him no attention. She turns and joins the pack in hunting a wild boar. Just as she prepares to attack, she loses her footing and falls into a raging current. Luckily, a fallen log traps her in place. The wolves pace anxiously along the shore. When they have no idea what to do, Buck charges in without hesitation. Thinking fast, he lifts the log with his body and drags it toward land with all his strength. At last, the white wolf is saved. Because of this act of courage, Buck earns the pack's acceptance. And unexpectedly, he wins the white wolf's affection. He begins hunting with the wolves. Thornton's meals improve day by day. Every meal is either wild chicken or fresh fish. Buck seems to become one with nature. As he returns home later and later each day, Thornton notices something has changed. One day, he secretly follows Buck into the forest. Watching him live so naturally among the wolves, Thornton understands. Buck no longer belongs to the human world. Buck was once spoiled by humans, then suffered greatly at human hands. He traveled so far before finally finding home, and Thornton realizes he has spent his whole life running away. Now it is time for him to return to his own home. He packs his belongings. Most of the gold they recovered is thrown back into the River of Gold. He keeps only enough to live. Thornton tells Buck he is returning to the human world. Buck becomes anxious. He doesn't know what choice to make, but Thornton understands. He tells Buck to stay. They will say goodbye tomorrow. That night, the ruthless Hal suddenly shows up. He found Thornton's map. He wants the River of Gold too. Hal sets the cabin on fire and fights Thornton. Then suddenly, he shoots Thornton in the stomach. Thornton understands why he came. He takes out all the gold in his pocket and throws it in front of him. But greed like this can never be satisfied. Hal raises the gun and demands the location of the river of gold. Then a bark cuts through the night. Buck lunges forward and knocks away the rifle. Showing his fangs, he slowly approaches. Hal pulls out the same club he once used to beat him. Buck instinctively steps back. But the moment Hal swings, his wild nature takes over again. Buck bites down on the club. This time, he doesn't hesitate. With all his strength, he drives Hal into the flames. Suddenly, the cabin collapses. Hal dies in the fire, paying the price for his greed. Buck walks to Thornton. He places his son's photo in front of him. He lifts Thornton with his body, as if telling him to keep living. At the end of the movie, Thornton returns to the human world and writes down Buck's story. No one knows how much time passes. Buck becomes the Wolf King of the Valley. He raises his own descendants, leading the pack freely across the plains, letting wildness grow inside him. From pet to king, he is not a domesticated dog shaped by humans, nor a beast swallowed by the wilderness. He is Buck, just an ordinary dog,